Think about the last time you saw someone achieve something incredible while barely looking like they were trying at all. We are taught from childhood that the only path to the top is through blood, sweat, and endless hours of grinding until our eyes burn. But what if I told you that the most successful people in the world, the top 1%, actually have a lazy habit that makes them completely unstoppable? It sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? We've all been there, staring at a massive goal, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer mountain of hard work ahead, thinking that if we just push a little harder and sleep a little less, we'll finally make it. But today, I'm going to strip away that myth and reveal a secret that most people will never understand. By the end of this video, you're going to see exactly how this counterintuitive approach can transform your life from a constant struggle into a streamlined journey toward excellence. I'm not just talking about working less, I'm talking about a fundamental shift in how your brain processes effort and success. I've spent years studying high performers and testing these psychological patterns myself, and what I discovered was that the harder you try to excel in the traditional sense, the further you often push success away. Before we dive into the specific strategy that changes everything, you need to understand why the classic hard work narrative is actually keeping you stuck in a loop of burnout and mediocrity. Most people believe that success is a linear equation where more input equals more output, but the reality is much more mysterious. Imagine a world where your most productive moments don't come from a place of stress, but from a place of calculated stillness. This is where the lazy habit comes in. And no, it's not about sitting on your couch doing nothing, it's about the strategic elimination of the unnecessary. Think about the high-performance athlete who looks like they are moving in slow motion while everyone else is frantic. They aren't working harder, they're working with a level of precision that makes effort look effortless. You've probably experienced this feeling before, that rare moment of flow where everything just clicks and you accomplish more in 1 hour than you usually do in an entire day. What if you could trigger that state on command? The top performers have figured out that the human brain isn't designed for a marathon of constant intensity. It's designed for short, explosive bursts of absolute focus followed by intentional recovery. But here's where it gets really interesting. The secret isn't in the burst itself, but in how you guard your energy during the off times. This is the part that society calls lazy, yet it is the very foundation of being unstoppable. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind, where people brag about how little sleep they got or how many emails they answered at midnight. But let's look at the data. Science shows us that after a certain point, every extra hour of work you put in actually has a diminishing return, and eventually it becomes negative. You start making mistakes, your creativity dies, and you lose the big picture perspective. The lazy habit of the elite is actually a form of aggressive prioritization. They refuse to do the busy work that makes most people feel productive but yields zero results. They are lazy about things that don't matter so they can be maniacal about the things that do. When you start to view your time and energy as a finite currency, you stop spending it on everything and start investing it only where the ROI is massive. This shift is uncomfortable at first because we're programmed to feel guilty when we're not doing something. But you have to ask yourself, do you want the trophy for the hardest worker or do you want the actual result? Think about a master archer. They don't spend all day pulling the bowstring back and forth. That would just tire their muscles. They spend most of their time standing still, breathing, and aligning their sight. The actual work, the release of the arrow, takes a fraction of a second, but that 1 second is the result of hours of intentional stillness. This is the mental model you need to adopt. If you want to excel in anything you set your mind to, you must first master the art of setting your mind properly. Most people set their mind like a shotgun, spraying energy in 100 different directions. The 1% set their mind like a laser. A laser isn't stronger than a light bulb, it's just more focused. A light bulb illuminates a room, but a laser can cut through steel. That focus requires you to say no to almost everything else. It requires a level of boredom and simplicity that most people find terrifying. But wait until you hear what happens when you finally stop the noise and focus on that one single point of impact. The transformation begins when you stop measuring your worth by your exhaustion. I want you to visualize a version of yourself that is calm, collected, and consistently achieving goals without the frantic energy you're used to. This isn't a dream, it's a biological reality once you stop fighting against your own nature. We've all seen the person who works 14 hours a day but stays in the same position for 10 years. Then we see the person who seems to have all the free time in the world, yet their business is thriving and their life is a masterpiece. The difference is the unstoppable habit. This habit is the practice of extreme essentialism. It's the ability to look at a list of 10 tasks and realize that only one of them actually moves the needle. The lazy part is refusing to touch the other 9. It's a ruthless commitment to quality over quantity. When you apply this to your goals, you stop being a jack of all trades and start becoming a master of your domain. You realize that excelling isn't about doing more things, it's about doing the right things so well that you become irreplaceable. But here is the twist that no one tells you. The hardest part of this habit isn't the work itself, it's the mental discipline required to stay lazy about the distractions. Our brains are addicted to the cheap dopamine of checking off small, insignificant tasks. Answering a notification feels like a win, but it's actually a loss because it stole your focus from the deep work that matters. The elite have trained themselves to ignore the urgent in favor of the important. They understand that if you don't design your life, someone else will design it for you, and they usually design it to serve their own goals, not yours. This is why you feel like you're working so hard but getting nowhere. You're running on a treadmill that someone else built. To break free, you have to be willing to look lazy to the people who are still stuck on the treadmill. You have to be okay with not being available 24/7. You have to be okay with silence. Remember the point I made about the laser? It's going to blow your mind how fast your life changes when you stop trying to excel and start trying to eliminate. Success is often an act of subtraction, not addition. It's about removing the habits, people, and thoughts that weigh you down. Think about a hot air balloon. If you want it to go higher, you don't necessarily need a bigger flame, you just need to drop the sandbags. Most of us are flying through life with 20 sandbags attached to our basket, wondering why we can't clear the trees. These sandbags are the hard work rituals that don't actually produce anything. They are the social obligations we hate, the perfectionism that freezes us, and the comparison to others that poisons our motivation. Drop the bags. Be lazy about the things that don't lift you up. When you do this, you'll find that you don't even have to try to excel anymore. The excellence becomes the natural byproduct of your elevated state. I've seen this happen over and over again. People come to me burnt out, ready to quit, thinking they just aren't cut out for success. But as soon as we implement the unstoppable habit, as soon as we give them permission to stop the busy work and focus on the 1% of activities that drive 99% of the results, their energy returns, their passion returns, and suddenly the results they've been chasing start chasing them. It's like a magnet. When you're aligned and focused, you attract opportunities that you used to have to hunt for. This is the true power of setting your mind to something. It's not about the grind, it's about the alignment. You are capable of incredible things, but only if you stop wasting your brilliance on things that don't matter. You have a unique gift, a specific talent that the world needs, but it's buried under a pile of hard work that serves no purpose. So now you understand exactly why the traditional success narrative is broken, and how this new lazy approach actually makes you more effective than you ever thought possible. But here's the thing. This is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Understanding the habit is the first step, but applying it consistently is where the magic happens. And if this video found you valuable, if it made you rethink your approach to your goals, then you're going to want to see what I'm revealing next. We're building a community of people who refuse to settle for the grind, and instead choose to master their lives through strategy and self-awareness. Look, if this video helped you realize that you've been working hard on the wrong things, then you absolutely need to subscribe right now. Why? Because every single week, I'm breaking down the psychological barriers and high-performance strategies that actually help you achieve more by doing less. I've already helped thousands of people reclaim their time and achieve their biggest dreams by working with their biology instead of against it, and you're next in line. Hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and let's start building a life of true excellence together. Trust me, what's coming next is going to change everything for you. You have the power to be unstoppable. Now let's go prove it to the world.